Tonight on KGW News, thousands of grocery store workers just hours away from going on strike.
We're hoping consumers stand by us, shop somewhere else.
The impact at Fred Meyer stores as workers threaten to picket for nearly a week. Plus,
my big worry is that we're seeing these numbers right now. What happens when school starts?
a warning for parents as health officials see an uptick of a potentially deadly disease. Then,
I'm frustrated and I'm becoming very impatient.
As new questions surface about Multnomah County's plan once drug possession becomes a crime this week. A very good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. In just 7 hours, thousands of Fred Meyer workers in the Portland area are set to go on strike. And while it appears the more than 24 stores impacted will stay open in some capacity, the union says it's hoping you'll take your business elsewhere. Alma McCarty is here with what all sides, including customers, have to say. Alma?
Yeah, David, 4,500 workers in the meat department and grocery department will walk off the job at 6 a.m. The union says this move should compel Fred Meyer to follow the law and get serious when it comes to negotiating their latest contract.
Tuesday afternoon at a Beaverton Fred Meyer was business as usual.
I'm here weekly, basically.
But come early Wednesday morning, most workers here plan to walk out.
As soon as I heard that there was a strike, I was kind of curious to figure out what was the reasoning behind,
And shoppers like Brandon Hamilton plan to head elsewhere.
Whenever I do find out that coworkers or people go on strike, it's usually for a good reason, and I'm usually down to support that.
We're hoping consumers don't cross our lines. We're hoping consumers stand by us. Shop somewhere else, Union. Safeway and Albertsons are everywhere. Go there instead.
Across 28 Fred Meyer stores in the Portland Metro, 4,500 unionized grocery and meat department workers will go on strike until Tuesday, unless a deal can be reached before then. Members voted to authorize a strike earlier this month.
No one ever expects to go out onto a strike, but sometimes it's necessary to compel your employer to follow the law.
Miles Ashaya with UFCW Local 555 explains they're protesting what they're calling unfair labor practices, failure to live up to current contract commitments, and failure to be cooperative during negotiations on a new one. With retirement and wages, two major sticking points.
There is no reason that they cannot pay living wages everywhere they operate if they can pay living wages in Tacoma, Washington.
Fred Meyer's president said while they respect their associates' right to collectively bargain and decision to strike, stores will remain open to serve the Portland community with access to fresh food, essentials, and pharmacy services.
And the head of Fred Meyer also bringing up the proposed Kroger-Albertsons merger, which is being challenged in federal court in Portland right now. He argued the merger is necessary to secure the future of unionized grocery stores and protect workers like those who are striking. The union, however, pulled their support of the merger earlier this month. The two sides are scheduled to resume contract negotiations Thursday and Friday. David?
Yeah, we'll see how the next week here plays out. Thank you, Alma. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, 2 Beaverton police officers are on leave after they shot and killed a shoplifting suspect. This was Monday evening outside the Nordstrom Rack across 217 from Washington Square Mall. Officers say they responded to reports of a man later identified as 39-year-old Jacob Bundy stealing from the store. When officers tried to arrest Bundy, they say he pulled out a gun and during a struggle fired, which led police to fire back. In Clark County, sheriff's deputies have made an arrest in a weekend shooting at a shopping center. This was just after 6 Sunday evening at Hazeldale Crossing. Witnesses reported people in a white Chrysler and dark Volkswagen firing 10 to 12 shots at each other. No one was hit, but a bullet struck another vehicle in the parking lot. During a search of a home, deputies say they found the Volkswagen and a rifle they believe was used in the shooting. They also arrested a suspect. Authorities say they are still searching for the other vehicle and people involved. And the man who pleaded not guilty to abusing a dog inside a Northeast Portland apartment building was arraigned today. 25-year-old Isaac Justhem was indicted by a grand jury last week on multiple counts of aggravated animal abuse. He remained silent in court as a judge set bail at $25,000. Authorities say he was recorded on security cameras earlier this month inside an elevator, violently hitting and kicking the dog. The dog in this case is still missing. Developing tonight, several animals are safe after police served a search warrant on a southeast Portland home where they say they found evidence of animal neglect. The DA's office says authorities rescued 13 dogs and 2 cats from the house on 86th near Tolman. That's in the Lentz neighborhood. Investigators say they received multiple complaints of malnourished animals and poor living conditions. A neighbor who did not want to go on camera told us they've complained for at least 3 years about barking dogs, odors, and feces.
It makes me feel angry and sad, and being able to know that those dogs are free and liberated helps me feel a little bit more in control.
It's not clear yet if anyone has been charged. Now to an update on Multnomah County's so-called Deflection program, which starting this Sunday will move some people caught using illegal drugs toward treatment instead of jail. Though, as Blair Best reports, it turns out the crime and the consequences could depend on the timing of when those people encounter police, and city officials seem less than thrilled.
The debate over deflection in Multnomah County continues, leaving many Portland City commissioners unimpressed.
I'm frustrated and I'm becoming very impatient.
I think there are a lot of questions that still have to be answered.
Tuesday morning, and for the first time, the county officials publicly presented the city with their plan for a deflection center, a place on the Central East Side where people caught solely with possession of hard drugs will go if they choose treatment over jail. That option becomes available on Sunday, when possession becomes a crime again in Oregon.
And what, it's the 27th, and officially we're supposed to start on the 1st?
I'd like to see this move much faster, just like all Portlanders would.
This cry for urgency comes on the heels of the county chair's decision last week to delay opening the center to October, launching mobile deflection instead, sending outreach workers to the streets as a temporary alternative.
This is basically a 6-week trial period, if you will. We think mobile deflection, particularly part-time mobile deflection, is not a good long-term solution.
Mayor Ted Wheeler now threatening to direct Portland police to arrest people instead of offering mobile deflection if the county does not open the center as planned by their new October deadline.
And in the absence of a working deflection program, what we will do is we will arrest people and we will book them.
The county admits they will only have enough staff to offer deflection from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. After hours, people will be cited or taken to jail.
Again, that is an obvious flaw with the program.
Among the city's growing concerns, safety for the neighborhoods surrounding the deflection center, which includes a preschool that sued the county on Monday for privately making decisions about the center. Here's the attorney behind that case.
As we've told them before, if we need to go in for a court order on an emergency basis to stop the opening of the center, we'll do that. We don't have to do that today because they've given themselves more time, but we're watching very carefully.
All right, so a lot of pressure on the county coming from all different angles here. They did not respond to our request for comment regarding that lawsuit, but we're told they did meet with the surrounding community at some point today. Blair Best, KGW News.
Meanwhile, Central Oregon's Deschutes County now says it is ready to go, and law enforcement will be the first point of contact when it comes to providing treatment resources for people caught with drugs. The DA says the problem with Measure 110 as a whole is that it didn't offer incentives, nor did it threaten consequences to move people toward treatment. To a health alert this evening as students head back to school, with officials in Clark County concerned about the potential rise of whooping cough, also known as pertussis. It is a serious respiratory illness. It spreads easily between people when an infected person breathes, coughs, or sneezes. 229 cases have been reported in Clark County this year, the vast majority of them since the beginning of June. This is more than the total number of cases over the last 5 years combined. Nearly 2/3 of them this time are in people who were never vaccinated.
My big worry is that we're seeing these numbers right now. What happens when school starts? And we've got, there's some schools that have very low vaccination rates. We're likely to see more. And of course, this can be a deadly disease.
Symptoms are initially similar to a common cold, but after a week or two, people can develop a violent cough that leaves them gasping for air. Without treatment, including antibiotics, people can be contagious for up to 3 weeks. You're watching KGW News, and still to come at 11, nothing short of a miracle how an Israeli hostage is doing tonight after being held captive for nearly a year. Plus, a fresh start for the class of 2028, how designers brought big upgrades to a historic Portland high school and pay tribute to its past.
And David, we definitely saw some cooler temperatures out there earlier this afternoon. We topped out in the mid-70s throughout many locations around the metro area. It's going to be a little bit warmer heading into tomorrow, but Thursday, Friday, and into the holiday weekend, it gets downright hot. I'll let you know how hot coming up in just a few minutes.